Hey guys, David, back now. Hey, welcome back. This is just a totally random video. I just thought I'd talk about different things since I'm out in the garage, layout room slash layout room, just kind of messing around, but kind of working on a few different projects here. This represents the old Toyota plant. Prior to that, of course, the old GM Auto plant. But all that to say, they temporarily shut down. So we're trying to figure out what's going on here. But in the meantime, UP figured out, Warm Springs, when they did shut down the Toyota plant and then Tesla came in, they don't really ship a lot of, well, they don't ship anything as far as I could tell via boxcar or auto racks or anything like that. But there's tons of containers there. So I'm sure a lot of containers come in via train, probably going to either Oakland or Lathrop. But anyways, all that to say, there's a number of tracks here that aren't being used, so the UP decided to do a little SP roundup with the old engines here and set these puppies out temporarily or maybe permanently to pasture. There's a few more sitting by the roundhouse too. Old SP roundup. Sayonara, baby. So another thing I want to talk about, since I've got a number of engines, and what I try to do is isolate the engines on a dead track. So these two tracks here, they're just a simple little switch here that I've got, Atlas controller switch. But at least I'm able to cut off the power to these guys here, and I just made a little cut here. I did my rotary tool here and just made a cut there, and I put a little glue there to keep it from closing that gap, so that he's on number one, and these guys are, well, that's 2 and that's 3 right there. Real simple stuff. But that way I can go park my engines someplace where they're not getting constant DCC power. All these engines right here, there's power on this track, but these are all my dummies. I just drag around, so they're gutted and everything. So same thing. UP rounded up all the old WP power, and they're storing here by the roundhouse. And 3 tracks into the roundhouse, those are all non-powered. I don't get powered up. I just kind of drag the engines out as needed. Old RDC in there too. But same thing here. These are cut-off tracks too. I just cut the power. This is 2 and 3. This one's full power, but this is just a dummy. And same thing. Simple controller. And this little, I think I mentioned before, it's called a pocket, where it's a short little runaround track where you can kind of get to it from both sides. But same thing here. This is my number 1, so I can cut off the power. And there's some sound equipped decoders. So there's a couple of reasons as to why I do this. Main reason is, I've seen it on other comments, other people's videos, YouTube videos, where every once in a while they'll have something go haywire and it resets or messes up all their decoders. So they got to go back and reset some of their decoders or all the decoders. And Anthony, I'm going to call you out on this, buddy. You're one of the nicest YouTube modelers. Georgia Sunbelt, it's his railroad. Super nice guy. But I think that happened to you, if I'm not mistaken, a number of months ago, where somehow someone haywire and messed up your decoders, and you had to go back and reset them. I don't think it fried. Hopefully it didn't fry any of them, but that's my concern too. If something happens where, I don't know, some major short or something like that, fries all my decoders, that's the last thing I want to do. So all that to say, I try to isolate a number of my engines so they don't all get messed up. Oh yeah, second reason is because I go, I get kind of tired of listening to all the sound, and I did that last video. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I had way too many engines, sound engines, idling someplace. So I had to put them in the barn or something like that. But yeah, sometimes I just like to run down sound too, and not have to listen to all the engines all over the layout. Oh, so another story, I'm kind of doing this too. This is funny. I could not find my UP engine, one of my favorite newer engines, the UP 908 GP40, and I go, I don't know what happened to it. So I spent about 5 minutes looking for it. You lose an engine on a layout, you're like, where is it at? So I discovered it. So it's my little 5-track staging. The 2 tracks on the right are, those are the main lines, and the other tracks I call it, that's my desert yard. That's very similar in Oakland. It actually has like a 90-degree curve there, and then it goes out to the desert yard. But anyways, I'm like, after about 5 minutes, I go, wait a second. I just get the controller and turn on the DCC system here and blow the horn. So he's back there. I don't know. Somehow he got back there. And normally I don't like just park a train back there where I can't see the engine number. But I heard his horn blasting back there. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll just run him out. But I go, oh, he must be consisted to somebody else. And I guess I forgot I consisted him. But I think what happened is I picked up the 2 consisted units and moved them. And the 908, of course, was still consisted. So he was in the yard here, and he must have taken off and buried himself in staging where I couldn't find him. The only ways I can see him is if I open up the garage door. So, but I heard him back there. Yeah, so on my little Pro Cab here, I ended up, I just brought it up here. I browsed my consist, and that's how I figured out who he was consisted with. And here's the 2 culprits he was consisted with. So yeah, he's back here behind the backdrop someplace, but I'll run him out here. I ended up, I'll change the subject. I ended up replacing, I had an overhead crossing signal, road crossing signal here by Walthers. But the problem with this area is that, you know, it's the lower level, and I really couldn't see it standing. The only time I could really see it is if I sat down and, you know, recorded it at about eye level, then I can see it. So I ended up switching to these. I haven't wired these up, but I know I can see these because I can see the LEDs when I stand up. So, and I moved it, and I'll show you where I moved it. Yeah, so we're in Stockton here at the BNSF, and I ended up, well, there's a grain train here that's been sitting here. They had to tie it down. So, you know, sometimes when you got to tie a train down, sometimes you got to separate the train for road crossings. But all that to say, this is where I moved them on my 2nd level, and well, I'm standing, this is eye level about here, but this will be much better here. So I brought 2 of these guys together, and you can kind of see what the road's going to look like. This is Weber Avenue, East Weber Avenue in Stockton. So that'll work out nice. I'll get some plaster on there and put a little scenery in here. And there's that little tank place that I kind of want to do. And I put some lines there. I use little markers, 50-foot white markers for where you got to separate your train. Real life, it's got to be 250 feet, but I just go 50 feet on the layout. But yeah, this will look cool. This will be kind of a nice scene. There's not much out here. It's pretty easy. I'll just use some buff, trying to think of, what is it? The light, or not light, what am I trying to say? Buff ballast, but it's probably the fine. Probably stick with the fine. That's what I'm trying to say. So anyways, I'd show this area, and I'm having problems with that. You guys have seen some of my videos, having a problem with that tunnel motor, so I got him all torn apart, and somehow I messed up the decoder, so I don't know what I'm going to do with him. He needs an overhaul, major overhaul, just like Fumble. So when I worked for the UP, they did servicing. I don't think it was major work in Stockton, but they did service the engines inside their diesel shop. And, you know, I see a lot of UP engines out there too. So, but that's when I left. I've been down there a number of years. So, but anyways, all that to say, that's pretty much what you're going to start seeing here. More and more UP stuff, and not so much foreign power. That old SPWP stuff slowly disappearing. Yeah, it's going to be a new year. Anyways, got a couple Chicago Northwestern units. So Atlas, one of the older Atlas engines, but nice, pretty nicely detailed engine. But a lot of times we would get, and you know what, I'll go in and I'll show you a picture of myself too on a Chicago Northwestern engine. But we would get Chicago Northwestern engines, maybe as a leader, because going through the old Chicago Northwestern, you know, double track main across, say, Illinois, and I'm not sure how far it went into Iowa, you know, they had cab signals. So they were equipped, the engines were all equipped with cab signals, or I don't fully understand. I'd have to go in the book to understand, because we didn't use the cab signals. But that's why sometimes Chicago Northwestern would be a leader in front of the UP engines. So, there's a younger picture of me. cool pick because I like it because it's Chicago Northwestern and I grew up in the Midwest. So heck, I like this picture. And I'm on top of the mountain, the highest point on the mountain in the Sierras. To the right of me is the big hole, the 2-mile long tunnel that dives down into, well, eventually goes down to Stanford Flats, Truckee, and eventually Reno. But yeah, I'm headed facing eastbound here. So, but yeah, if ever I should do an engine up like that, the 8664, that'd be cool. Oh yeah, back in the layout room here at the workbench. If you're wondering if I keep track of all my consists, yes and no. Yes, I do. It's sitting right here above my workbench off to the right, and you can kind of see how I keep track of everything. And I use, like a consist number, I use the last 2 digits of my liter for the consist number. You got to come up with a number between 1 and 127 consists, at least on the NCE system. So when I say yes and no, the no part is I don't really update this very much. I'm constantly changing things and things don't always get updated. So, but I should do a better job of it, and that's why I lost my engine. Well, that's about it for my updates. That's about all I can tell you. Yeah, there's changes. Come the new year, UP's making changes, so that's going to happen eventually. So appreciate you guys. Appreciate all my subscribers, and I'll just leave you with my little shot here, my unballasted Stockton yard. You guys take care. Happy New Year, David. BAC V. Hey, sign it out. Let's go.